Tangwe tu je sha je ru suan ro yin je ma to tu je pun jom ba su je lum bo da bra je be ge sha je ja be ja du ngu sha za tor je chen je de lo na ro ta ma ba ma la chi je gam bo ba pa mo zhe ba je wa ru gong ba ka ju la ma nam je da jong je Dana dana zera damje de lama laba la ye jizo zo lo zon yon den jam zeng a la wan ten zhe don jen zhe be ge le zo gang ge din jen zhe wan jong ga ba me ba je ba me ba da me ba wa me ba ro me ba ta de do me don je me zhe ba nye je de ba zo ba san je ma nan je dan ba de la zhang za de da ge lo ju zhen zhe wa zhen je la de zo che lam den zhe wa zhen je la de lam zhe wa jie wa zhen je la de zo zhe wa yi xi san jia wa zhen je la de so Tenzin zaba lama ji je gu zong du je xin la da 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 ge ju la be de da ge den ba dan sim jian je du ya jin bon zhe ba zhen je la du so Today's our Dharma talk is Heart Sutra. Actually, the Buddha turned the wheel of the Dharma 3 times. Paranjana Parimita or Heart Sutra is included in the second turn of the Dharma wheel. The Heart Sutra is also priceless treasure. So I chose to teach on the Paranjana Parimita or Heart Sutra because in this Paranjana Parimita text there is a repellent section and it says the king of God Indra recited, contemplated the profound meaning and practiced the Heart Sutra. Then his evil obstacles turned back. Therefore, whoever practice it, all of their obstacles will be removed. That is what it says in this text. So I believe through this practice on Heart Sutra, all of our anxieties, fears, nervousness, and worries, pains, sufferings will be purified. All these sufferings are caused by coronavirus recently. So due to our practice Heart Sutra, we can seal all the disease and all the sufferings, anxieties into emptiness. Actually, the practice of any kind of religion or any kind of Dharma practice, of course, it has a great benefit because most of these Buddhism is related on psychology or mind and mentalities. So whenever we have problems, difficulty situations, at that time, if we practice Dharma, definitely it will help us. So here, actually I'm not doctor, I'm not nurse, so that's why I cannot help to mother sentient beings through my hands. But through this profound teaching of Heart Sutra, I deeply wish may our mother sentient beings will get benefit. Whether we know or we don't know whether they are our friends or not, in order to they are our mother sentient beings. When they are falling in suffering, at that moment we try to help them directly and indirectly. So that is our goal. That is the cause of liberation from the ocean of the samsara. So for that reason, we always cultivate bodhicitta, compassion. These things are extremely important. We all know how much suffering, especially recently. So we have to think, we have to practice to purify these sufferings. And then also the reason of my teaching on the Heart Sutra, I just would like to share this. There is a Tibetan story. That one time there was a person who others thought he had made evil big mistakes. And then they punished him by tying him to the top of a bamboo pool. And then they made a big fire near the bamboo pool. And they began to recite the rippling section of the Heart Sutra. And then the bamboo started bending towards the fire. When they almost finished reciting, then bamboo went back because that person did not make evil karma. But first that bamboo began bending towards the fire because of the power of the Heart Sutra. This Tibetan saying. So it means actually there is special power. And of course, that is actually the someone who doubt about the practice. Perhaps they thought, they think, oh, perhaps there's a benefit, perhaps there is no benefit, right? That's why I think it will help to share kind of this story. But then there's the reality of the Heart Sutra established emptiness, all the phenomena established in the emptiness. That's where there's no suffering, there's no problems. So those things we will know later. So then this Heart Sutra, the head of this land, that says that in this blue book, everybody, I think, have that blue book, and then page number 36. So I teach on this book. The Sutra of the Heart of the Glorious Lady Parinjana Paramita. So the Sutra means the spoken word of the Buddha. Sutra means, actually Buddha taught two teachings, the Sutra and Vajrayana. So today our teaching is on Sutra. And then heart. Why we call here heart? The heart means actually physically heart means in our heart, all the channels and gathering in the heart. So heart is so important in our body, in our life. So it's similar, but right now it does not talk about the physical heart. It's talking about the essence of Dharma. So then heart means essence. Then first let me tell you that why we call the heart here. There's some meanings. This is actually in the Buddha's teaching, in Sutra teaching, there is the 100,000 verses and 20,000 verses and 8,000 verses. All of these essence of teachings are gathering in this Heart Sutra. That's where we call Heart Sutra. That is the first. The second, that is almost, we can say, externally, why we call it Heart Sutra, right? Internally, it tells about the natural state of mind, emptiness. It is the principle of all the teachings. In order to, this teaching tell us about Dharmakaya. So that's where internally we call heart means the reason is that. Glorious Lady Parinjana Paramita. The lady, they translated her lady. Actually, in Sanskrit, Parinjana Paramita is a Sanskrit. Actually, Buddha, when Buddha was India, at that time there is 4 great languages. Among them, Buddha taught Dharma through the Sanskrit. So this is actually Bhagavati. Lady means Bhagavati. Why it is calling Bhagavati? Because the Bhagavati means actually the name of the female. Then this sutra or this wisdom is the mother of all Buddhas. Mother of all Buddhas. That's why they translated here lady, but Bhagavati. Bhagavin and Bhagavati different. If you would like to know this deity, Idam deity, then her color is yellow and she has 4 arms. Her decorations are like a Sambhogakayas, but she is Dharmakaya. But then why she has these 4 arms? First 2 arms, right hand, she holds a Vajra. Left hand, she holds the book, volumes, book, orders to book. That book is represent of the wisdom. On the right hand, her holding this Vajra is the bliss. Tibetan called Detong Sungjuk. So Deva and Tumba. Deva means bliss. Tumba means emptiness and wisdom. And then 2 other hands, its action is like a meditation posture in her lap. So that means union, bliss and emptiness union. So that's where this Bhagavati is that. But the reality is that is a primordial wisdom, not just ordinary person. Yeah. Then Paranjana Parimita. So Paranjana means actually the wisdom. Parimita means the perfection, because she entirely beyond, liberated from the samsara, right? So this name is that. And then the fully meaning is the heart of the great transcendent wisdom. This is the heart sutta, the sutta of the heart, the sutta of the heart of the glorious lady Paranjana Parimata. That means this full meaning is the heart of the great transcendent wisdom. That is my translation. I don't know if it's right or correct or incorrect. And then first the thus I have heard. Thus I have heard means actually the who is I? This is the Buddha's disciple. He was with Buddha. His name is Ananda. Tibetan called Gungawa. Ananda. So I heard means he heard that. This teaching is he collected. There's many other teachings about this, but we have no more time. And also, I think it's fun. Feature slowly, you pay attention on it, you will figure that out. So once the Bhagavin, okay. So Bhagavin and Bhagavati different. I already told you Bhagavin and Bhagavati different. Bhagavin, this right now we call this only Shakyamuni Buddha. Shakyamuni Buddha, we call him Bhagavin. Why we call him Bhagavin? Because Bhagavin means the conquered. He conquered 4 maras. 4 maras. I hope everybody understand the meaning of Mara. Then he conquered 4 maras. That's why we call him Bhagavin. The first is the Mara of aggregates. What is the aggregates? What are the aggregates? Later we will know. But he First is the Mara of aggregates. That means the karma is cause and afflictive emotions are the conditions. This is how our 5 aggregates are established. That's where our body is fragile, right? Fragile, easily sick, and quickly ages. So that's what we call the Mara right now. The second Mara is the Mara of afflictive emotions, which means it is the obstacle of liberation from the ocean of samsara. Afflictive emotions are Mara in these Sutra teachings. And then third, the Mara of the Lord of the Death, which cuts short precious human life. It's also fear of change and impermanence. So this is the third Mara. Fourth Mara is the Mara of the son of the god, which means distractions. Distractions are real Mara. Whether we start to meditate, we have distractions, physically or mentally. And so in order to, whenever we have Mara or we have the distractions, then we cannot meditate purely, we cannot practice purely. So that's where we call them Mara. So Bangavin means he conquered 4 of them. Right now we have 4 of them. We have 5 aggregates, and we have afflictive emotions, and we have the in order to our life is impermanence, and then we have distractions. So that's where right now we know we are not Buddha yet. We are not yet Bangavin. So we request to Bangavati. Heart Sutra is Bangavati. Through the Heart Sutra, then we will become Bangavin. So we call Bangavin means that. So once the Bangavin was residing on Vulture Flock Mountain in Rajugara, together with a great assembly of fully ordained monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. So here a little bit, let me tell you about the Vulture Flock Mountain. This is actually east of ancient India. So this is the holy place. The Buddha teach here second of his Dharma. So then why we call the Vulture Flock Mountain? There's some explanations. Some explanation says that I think both are correct, but when Buddha began to teach that Heart Sutra and Sutra sections, and then disciples, there's a great bodhisattvas, Tathagatas, and other Patriarchal Buddhas, and lay ordinary people, every thousands of the sanghas gathering on there. So that place, I've been there, I visited there. That place is a very small place. So it's unbelievable how can be thousands of sanghas gathering there. That's where it tells the vulture flock mountain. That means they sit on the trees, they sit on the rocks or some different place like vultures. So that's where that place is called that. I think that is very true. That is fortunate eon. That's where everybody love the Dharma. So whether the sun is so hot in India, especially at that moment, but they can dedicate, and then they don't have cars at that moment. They don't have any other, of course, airplanes, but they came from far away, including kings and so on. So that's where this is that. Assembly of fully ordained monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bangavin entered samadhi of enumerations. I hope everybody has this book, so you will understand, right? Enumerations of phenomena called perception of the profound. So at that time, actually Shakyamuni Buddha, he was prince. His father is king, mother is queen, and also he married. And then his father wished him to become king. But due to his special wisdom, actually, Shakyamuni Buddha, he accumulated merit, thousands of lives. So that's where he already have a special wisdom. So that's where he don't have interest into belong the power of a king. Because since he was child, he knew his father of a king how much suffered. So that's where he already have a plan to go to the mountainside and meditate for meditation and so on. So anyhow, so he, as this sentence says, he entered the samadhi of the enumeration of phenomena called perception of the profound. Yeah, he did that. And then at that time, noble Avalokiti Shaurya, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, while practicing the profound Paranjana Parimetta. So the following, he saw the 5 skandhas to be empty of nature. Okay. First, let me say that, and then I will teach on it. So let us know in this paragraph, first paragraph, there are 5. There is 5 auspiciousness. There is 5 auspiciousness. So these 5 auspiciousness are: the first is the auspiciousness of the time. Why? Because that time is a precious time, auspicious time. It's auspiciousness time. Auspiciousness of the time, because the Dharma began at that time. So everybody believe karma. Purely, truly, they believe karma. And then, of course, Shakyamuni Buddha was living there. Right? Shakyamuni Buddha was living there. So that time, Dharma was living, or Dharma was existing, At that time, Shakyamuni Buddha was alive. So that's where that it was the precious time. The second is the precious Buddha. Buddha is preciousness, right? Always. Buddha is always. That's second. Third is the place. That place is also special place because sometimes we have to know the places are a big deal when we practice Dharma. Holy place. For instance, in Tibet has mountain Kailasha, and then let me say in Tibetan, Tsar, and then Lapchi. This is in the Nepal, right? And then also there are many holy places. The holy places also sometimes help us to promote or cultivate or improve our realizations. Holy places is a big deal because in the reality, our body and the 5 elements interdependence each others. So I don't know you are who have that knowledge. I learned that, but I forgot. I'm sorry. Tibetan astrology. I did not become astrologer because I learned that, then I forgot it. But I know little part of them. So there is the 5 elements. They have friendship each others, and some of them has like enemies. They have a little bit problems. For instance, fire and water. They are opposite. The fire and the wind, friends. So that's the holy place is a big deal. That's where the Mahasiddhis, gurus, they start to establish the centers, their focused place. His Eminence Garchi Rinpoche says, often tell us this place is a holy place because our Avalokiteshvara, there are many eyes. They are the symbol of our Avalokiteshvara. So that's where we have. Yeah, of course. So that's where he preferred, and this honor of this place she offered. She is not human. So this is a special place. So that's where India has holy places. In Tibet has holy places, and everywhere has holy places. You see? Yeah, absolutely. And this, for instance, many sanghas also told me to, when they meditate, practice here, they have special experiences. So that's absolutely true. And then His Eminence Garchi Rinpoche gave such a profound teachings here, and many wonderful sanghas retreat. They did retreat and practice. Many Yadam deities practice. Everything's going successfully accomplished. Everything's. So the place is also very important. So this is not just my thinking and just my. I don't make that, but because the Vulture Flog Mountain. Through this way, we understood the places are the holy place is important. Even though, for example, if we really don't do particularly retreat in the small hut, we stay here around the. In order to stay here, it is like a retreat. It is a retreat, really. There's no distractions, right? No distractions. Then the wind is always pure, clean, clear, and then the sky is such a clean, pure, and then we see all the 4 and 8 directions. And then this place, actually, in the Dharma terms, there we say that Rinpoche told me that, I think Rinpoche told you guys too, that the 4 directions has 4 special representatives. So he says that everything's here at that place. And then in the sky has the shape of wheel, Dharma wheel. He said we have that. On the ground we need the shape of lotus. We have that. And then 4 directions we need some great auspiciousness of the symbols. He says we have that. So this is right now we're talking about GBI because we are here now, we know that. So that's where we talked about, I'm telling about that. And then, so the second is the, third is the auspiciousness, the place. And the fourth is the auspiciousness of disciples. Shakyamuni Buddha's disciples are Avalokiteshvara, Manjushri. In order to there are 8 great Maha Bodhisattvas, great Bodhisattvas, 8 great Bodhisattvas. They are his disciples. Then he has, of course, there are thousands of disciples of humans and non-humans and so on. So all of them are authentic practitioners. And all of them are such a wonderful disciples. That's way. Of course, Compassion Buddha is his disciple. Then his disciple is auspiciousness. No question, right? And then the auspiciousness of the teaching. What is that? That is Heart Sutra. Heart Sutra is auspiciousness of the teaching. So these 5 are including this first paragraph. Future, when you recite that, you have to think, oh, there are 5 auspiciousness. At that time, Noble Avalokiteshvara. Avalokiteshvara means the embodiment of compassion. So let me say that in Tibetan. This Avalokiteshvara, this is Sanskrit. This translates into Tibetan. Tibetan calls Jinrezek. Jinrezek, the meaning of Jinrezek means, Jin means eyes. This poet name, Jin means eyes. Rezek. Rezek means always looking. So that means because he always take care of all mother sentient beings. It's non-stop, never stop. So that means that's where we call the Jinrezek. And Jinrezek has 4,000 arms and 4,000 eyes. This is represent first. In his hand hands have eyes. They are represent of wisdom. Wisdom knows the suffering of mother sentient beings. Wisdom knows if they have a real practice, they have opportunity to liberate. And then his arms are represent of compassion. Then compassionately take care, help. So that means this, okay? And then Bodhi. Bodhisattva, sorry. The Bodhisattva means actually the person who has diligently cultivate the qualities necessary to become Buddha. So the Bodhisattvas are not yet Buddha in the relative truth. They are second Buddha. We can call. They are ready. The next step is the Buddha stage. So Bodhisattva means that, but they are a living being yet. They help us. They take the life of the normal body, and then they help. Normal speaking, but through this way they help us. They help us. Maha means great Bodhisattva. While practicing the profound Pranjana Parimetta, saw the following. He saw the five skandha to empty of the nature. So the power of the Buddha, he already entirely the samadhi is meditate, right? In order to he meditate. And then the power of him, then Avalokiteshvara start to analyze what are the five skandhas. Five skandha means actually five over the forms, feelings, and perceptions, impulses, and consciousness. We call them five skandha. So then he started to establish them, research or analyze of them. Then the power of Buddha, also Shariputtara. In this text, they say Shariputtara. So Shariputtara means, Shari means his mother's name. Puttara is the son, his name. So then always call together his mom's name and him together, Shariputtara. Then these three of Shakyamuni Buddha and Compassion Buddha, Jinezig, and then Shariputtara, these three powers gathering in this Heart Sutra, right? In order to three of them made this Heart Sutra. And then then through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputtara spoke thus to noble Avalokiteshvara. The Bodhisattva Mahasattva, who should a son of noble family or a daughter of noble family, train who wish to practice the profound Pranjana Parimetta. This Shariputtara arised this question from his mind or in his mind because the power of Buddha stay in meditation. So he meditated, but then Shariputtara is actually, we says he is not a Mahayana traditional practitioner. Shariputtara is, but this teaching is a Mahayana tradition. But the power of Buddha, his mind changed, and then he would like to ask what to the Avalokiteshvara. If Avalokiteshvara at that moment doing something, maybe it's possible, excuse me, I will tell you tomorrow or so on, but the power of Buddha, Avalokiteshvara, exactly at that moment he analyzed about the five skandhas. So that's where Shariputtara asked, and then he answered. Noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, said to Venerable Shariputtara, "O Shariputtara, as a son of noble family or daughter of noble family." So this text we have to keep in the future. Sometimes you cannot find some text does not say daughter. So this is a little bit disagree part. So we all have Buddha nature. Even though son and daughter, of course, all other insects, bugs, and everyone have Buddha nature. So whoever practice the profound of Pranjana Parimetta, of course, they will become enlightened. So Shariputtara, or family who wish to practice the profound Pranjana Parimetta should see in this way. This Avalokiteshvara says, said. They see the five skandhas. Skandhas is aggregates, five aggregates. to be empty of nature. Form is emptiness. Emptiness also is form. Emptiness is no other than form. Form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, formation, and consciousness are emptiness. But in here, they teach about the five aggregates how can be emptiness. So this is actually very, in order to address this, so this is a very difficult part. Very difficult to understand. So the form is emptiness. Emptiness form. That part is not only for talk. That part is we have to meditate. Form is emptiness. How? How this form is emptiness? The form is interdependent each others. And then we go, we research or we analyze deeply on about the form. On the form, finally we lost form. Actually, lost is not good word, but the right now we have a form, and then we look at the form, and then attachment and aversion arise from the mind, right? So that's where the form is entirely emptiness. So then we, when we meditate on there, when we practice on there, then we have to start from the center of the head to the under the feet. We established where any single object exists dependently, or everything are related to each others. So then, of course, for example, our head is related to neck. Neck is related to shoulder. Shoulder is related to our main body. Main body is related to our legs, right? So everything's, if we go up to down and down to up, everything's are interdependent to each others, related to each others. That's where the form is emptiness. The subtle of interdependence is emptiness. Then the later difficult one is the emptiness is form. Why we say emptiness is form? Because the emptiness, for example, we say, okay, there's no form, because form is emptiness. If we say, okay, form is emptiness, then why we see, why we can touch? That is our question. The reason is our mind is already obscured by the ignorance. Our nature of mind is a paramodal wisdom, but it is obscured by the ignorance. That's where we see like these forms like truly exist. But these are, the example is in the water. Then we see the moon's reflections. But this is not real moon. That is moon's reflection. But we see the moon same like moon in the water. But right now we have wisdom, so we know that it's a reflection of moon. That's why I made this example here now. But there's a story, the 500 monkey, and then the king of monkey, he see the reflection of moon in the water, then he too much worried about that, and then they hold the hands each other's, and the last monkey hold the branch of tree, and then this leader of the monkey tried to pick up the moon in the water, and then unfortunately this tree, the branch of tree broke, and all monkeys fall in the water, sink in the water, right? So that means he thought that the real moon fell into the water or pond or something. So similar, right now we think, oh, this is real form. Oh, this is really smart. This is really nice. Whatever we labeled on there, everything's same like the leader of a monkey who thought the moon fell into the water. He thought that is a real moon. We think this is a real body, but this is emptiness. But then we appears them. We see kind of this body still, this form, because of emptiness. The emptiness interdependent each other's, and then through this we appears them. The truly non-exist, truly not exist them. Just appear in the mind. In order to this is the miracle of our mind. Miracle of our mind. Simchi Chomter. Mind make it. Whenever we purify our ignorance, then always we see the forms. We see forms, and then we make lot of cause of samsara. So then after we have mind, after we have this form, after we have form, means we identify this is a real form, like we thought this is real, and then we have arise the feelings, and then after the arise feelings, and then slowly attachment. And then slowly attachment, and then we make lots of different things with them. This is the impulses. And then after we make the house of the consciousness stay here, that makes more relation with this body, and then always, oh, I'm I. So then we become I master. I master. So, but I think just I tell you, in the Vajrayana text, then we teach about that. The 5 skandhas or 5 aggregates are 5 family Buddhas, right? So form is Vairocana, feeling is Rinasambhava, perception is Amitabha, and impulses is Amangasthi, and consciousness is Akshobhya. So this is how to transform when we practice. Everything's made by thinking or perceptions. Perception makes. For instance, I look at this flower, and then I think, oh, it's beautiful, and then I think, oh, I need it. Then that is this. I'm going wrong directions. I'm going to the samsara. If I look at this flower, and then suddenly see, oh, this is the form. This is Akshobhya. If I transform my thinking into there, then this is Akshobhya. Then I step by step go forward in nirvana. So this is a big deal with pure perception. And then these five aggregates, Tolkien teaches about five aggregates. And then the next, thus, Chariputara, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristics, without arising, without ceasing, without sting, not without sting, without decrease, and without increase. Therefore, Sariputara, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no formation, no consciousness. Until there, so emptiness. In the emptiness, there's no increase and no decrease. No the arising and no ceasing. So that is the nature of emptiness. If we really reached on that stage, then there's no suffering. So right now, whoever suffering the cause of coronavirus or any other cause, then sit on the emptiness. Of course, you sit in emptiness 1 minute. At that 1 minute, for 1 minute, you have no suffering. After you come back from this meditation, then you have suffering again. Why that? Because since beginningless, we make very strong imprinting on the ignorance. That's why if we were not finished this ignorance, then we have still these imprintings in our mind. So when you have problem with the forms, you pay attention on the emptiness. Oh, this is not increasing, not decreasing, and this is not arising, not ceasing, and so on. You check, you analyze on there. Then if you have different feelings, right now our meditation times always we watch on our feelings. The reason is first we make we figure out the feeling, and then that next steps we start to establish them in emptiness. So that's where we meditate with the feelings too. And then other kind of aggregates, any kind of aggregates you have arise like from your mind, and then you can establish them one by one. Or if you just establish only consciousness, this is also fun. This section says no increase, no decrease, and those parts talking about they are the emptiness. Okay. Then this next, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. There's the 6. We call them. If you are learner about this part, then you let you know that we call them the 6 outer source of perceptions. Sorry, inner. That means ear, eyes, no tongue, body. They are we call the inner, but they do not exist. They do not exist. True. And then no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no tangible object, and no phenomena. This we call the 6 outer source of perceptions. Because this, when we have eyes, right? Right now we have eyes. The eyes look on the form. And then eyes consciousness makes many exaggerations on there. Makes many different things. And then that makes the samsara. So if there's no eye, then there's no eyes consciousness. If there's no eyes consciousness, there's no forms. then they are not no way to create samsara. No I dhatu up to, no mind dhatu, no dhatu of phenomena, no mental consciousness dhatu. Between there, actually, yeah. So, yeah, I think this is we call actually the 18 seed of dhatus. 18 seed of dhatus. But let me tell here a little bit about the practice. When we recite this Heart Sutra, then we have to focus. Don't just blah, 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 like that. Of course, it has benefit. But we really recite on there, it has a great benefit. So I will give you some example. So last year, His Eminence Ngachir Rinpoche told me that. I think he told to all the Sanghas that too. When he recites the Heart Sutra and focus on the person, he recites Heart Sutra and then he focus on the person. At that time, he focus on the person. He sees that person's body is like a collection of earth, which means he could see the interdependence of all the different parts of our body. Collections of earth. We see the one solid and unity of our body because we don't pay attention to it when we recite, even though when we're teaching. So when we're teaching the recite, contemplation, we really focus on there. Then there's no the form. There's no feeling. There's no impulses, and so on. So that's actually we call the 18 seats. Through this, then the His Eminence Ngachir Rinpoche, he said that when he recite Heart Sutra, then he recite like no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, and then he focus on that person. Then he see that person's form is like a collection of earth. And then, for example, I recite Heart Sutra. I say no eye, no air, no whatever, but still I see that person is the body form is like a solid, and the unity or something like that. The different thing is I gave you an example. That example is the real practitioner who really practice on impermanence. Real practitioner who really practice on impermanence. And then who cross a river twice. He come and he going back. And then he come to cross he crossed that river. And then that is after immediately he turns back and he go back. Then he see that is different river. That is different rivers. Because when he crossed that river just gone. And then next he comes back, going back at that moment. This is new river. So that's where he is real practice on the impermanence, right? And if we are not real practitioner on impermanence, then what happened is same thing. We cross that river and come back at that we think same river. First we cross that river and comes back. If we pay attention to that same river. That is we Or we say, we don't think permanent. Oh, this is permanent. This flower is permanent. This person is permanent. We did not think, actually, honestly. We don't label the name of a permanent, but we perceive like that. That is a permanent perception of a permanent. Perception of impermanent, look at that flower. First, I look this flower, and then I turn my face somewhere, and then again I look on this flower. Definitely, I know this is a different flower because it's impermanence, right? If I don't have these realizations, then I look at this flower first time, and then turn my face right and the left side, and then again pay attention on there, then same. Then I always think, oh, my. Always we think one thing is my. Then they are not ours. So everything's are changing. Everything's changing. So impermanence is so important. Impermanence, when I talk to the impermanence, many people think it is negative. But it does not mean always negative. Impermanence has great qualities. For example, you have lots of suffering. That suffering changing. So that is the quality of impermanence. Not always the good things change into bad. Bad things change into good. Actually, the main impermanence is that. Let us know that. It's so important. What is the bad things right now, for example, in relative truth? Samsara is bad things. Samsara is impermanence. For that way, it's changed into the nirvana. Sufferings are changed into the happiness. So that's why if we have realization of impermanence, then we have special mental, psychology, notion or ideas. Internal. That's why Buddhism has a special skills on there. Special experience on there. So of course other religions have, but I didn't learn, so I just respect it, but I can't say they have. If I just say that, that's may not true. But I hope and I wish they have too. But what I learned from Buddhism, what I see is they have kind of these great ideas. If we really can practice well, then Dharma is always pure and excellent. And then, they also, if we recite, but someone who, you don't worry if you think, oh, he said, if we don't contemplate on there, then looks like only recitation or those things may not have a benefit. You don't think like that too, because Shakyamuni Buddha said that whoever hold in hand that sutra, pack these teachings, whoever recite, whoever contemplate, whoever meditate, every day's actions have an inconceivable benefit. So if you don't understand the meaning deeply, please you recite this. So that's where all monasteries, I used 4 different lineages, Kajupa, Satyapa, Nimapa, Gelupa, 4 of these lineages. I studied from them. All of them recite the Heart Sutra without missing a day. Really? That's why they recite that. It has some meaning. And Garchen Rinpoche never missing that in every day. Every after food, meal, lunch, he recites something, then that is sure the Heart Sutra. So it has meaning, okay? So please, everybody, especially these days, if you don't know the deep meaning, don't worry, still you recite. If you know meaning, this is super, okay? And then the next is no ignorance, no termination of ignorance up to no aging and death, and no termination of aging and death. This is talking about the 12 links of interdependence. Actually, I have planned to teach on there, but time is running out. This I will do now briefly because it's related on there. This the 12 links of the dependent origination. This is actually how we are cycling exist in this samsara. So first, actually in this Heart Sutra says no, no, no. But before we say no, no, then what are them? We need to know what are them, right? So there is the first is ignorance. So let me so in order to this 12th link of dependent origination, it has two directions. That is the principle we have to know. Two direction. One is forward or increase. This is the cause of samsara. The second is backwards, like a decrease. That is the cause of nirvana. The 12th link is that. And then the forward movement is ignorance lead to mental formatives. Mental formations give rise to consciousness. And then consciousness determines the resulting mental and physical phenomena. And the mental and physical phenomena contact with the 6 sense realms. The 6 sense realms came into contact with phenomena. The contact gives rise to sensation or feeling. And then the feeling gives rise to desire or thirst. Thirst gives rise to clinging, right? Clinging gives rise to process of becoming. The process of becoming leads to rebirth, birth, and then birth leads to the suffering, old age, and death. So this is, I think, perhaps you are not clear on there, but I will tell you a little while. And then another is the ignorance. The backward is the ignorance. See, in order to stop the ignorance, then there's no consciousness. Cessation of ignorance, then cessation of consciousness, and then it's one by one like that. So these are the 12 links. For instance, I just would like to say that if there is no ignorance is all the Buddha's teachings says the ignorance is the cause of samsara. Lord Jigten Sunggung says his Gongje is the all Buddha's, the essence of all Buddha's teaching, that too. So he says, Mihi tamung ni ba yin le jia. That means Mihi means no knowing. Timung means marek by ignorance. Nipa means the faults or mistakes. Yin le jia means it's serious than the other afflictive emotions. Ignorance is, Jigten Sunggung said that. Lord Jigten Sunggung said that. So the ignorance is cause of samsara. Nagarjuna says same like that, and the other masters says same like that. So ignorance is the cause of samsara. So if there is no ignorance, then there is no consciousness. If there's no consciousness, then there's no delusion. No delusion. For instance, there is no rabbit's horn. Then rabbit's horn never make, injured. Never injured our body, right? Anyone get a rabbit? In Tibet has some yaks. They are angry. They do like that. They are happy. They help. Of course, they have angry emotions. Sometimes they are angry, and then they do with their horn. They make they injured. That means in relative truth, there is a yak's horn, right? Horn. But there's no rabbit horn. If there's no rabbit horn, then nobody injured by the rabbit horn. That means the rabbit has no horn. Similar, there's no ignorance, then there's no consciousness. If there's no consciousness, then there's no illusion. There's no illusion, then there's no samsara in order to. So there's some metaphor or some represent. So about the 12 links of the ignorance. So in brief, let me say that the first is one person who has arrow in eyes. That person's eyes, arrow. Then that is this first person is blind. This is a representative of the ignorance. Blind person cannot see, right? If the two eyes both can see anything, then it's very difficult to work in if there's no guide. So this is the representative of ignorance. Then the representative of formative. This is there are many ways, like I think that spelling is V-A-S-E-S, maybe, ways, small and big and so on. Yeah, ways. And then this is the, after we have ignorance, and then they makes different things. So formative. And then the representative of consciousness is a little funny. Monkey. Not monk, okay? Monkey who are the top of tree. That means he just jump up on top of a tree and come down, jump. He never stay, never relax. Similar, our consciousness is always go through the eyes, go through the ears, go through the tongue, body, nose. So even though we are sleeping, still it makes dreams, right? So consciousness, that monkey is representative of consciousness. And then the name and the formative. This is there is some boat in the river, boat, B-O-A-T, boat. That means the formative name and formative, they bring some karmas from past life to here and here to send something next life. So that boat bring the things from the river, go and come and something like that. And then there are 6 source or 6 sense. This is their house, many windows, many doors, but nobody inside. That is empty house. That is before consciousness rent the upper body, then how it is established. And then there is a contact. The 6th of this is the contact. The contact, there's one man and a woman. They're holding their hands, each other's, and then kiss and something like that. That is, they will start to about the feeling of desire and so on. And then there's one person whose eyes has arrow. I already told that. So this arrow, in the eyes has arrow, then it's so difficult, right? Even though in the eyes have a single here, right? Come is very difficult. Then if there's arrow, of course that's painful. So then there's different feelings, sufferings, and so on. And then earth is their craving. Craving is this. There's one metaphor. This is one person who drink alcohol. First drink a little bit, second, third, fourth, and then they become habitual. So that's why in the samsara they make little things, third, fourth, then increase. One time then cannot liberate from that. Then 9 is another monkey who takes some apples from trees. That means some lovely things bring, and some, if they don't like, and reject, accept and reject. So all my family, my relatives, we do. All my enemies and reject, everything's attachment and aversion come from through this way. And the 10th is the Bikami. Bikami is the pregnant women who has a baby. So that is so on this that tells that on the consciousness have make many seed of the different karmas. So then it's bigger, thicker, and then they make samsaras. Then 11, 12, they are birth, one woman birth, give birth, another is old, and then death, everything. So this is the representatives of the 12 link of dependent originations. So they are, in order to these 12 links, and then this next about in order to this suffering and cause of suffering, and actually they say no suffering, no origin, no cessation, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. All of these things talking about the Four Truth, or two of Buddha's first teaching are about the Four Noble Truth. And then Buddha is a skillful teacher, so that's where first he lead what they need through this way, and then second he completely purified their mind. That's where his disciples are Avalokiteshvara and Manjushri and so on. So that's where it's in order to those are cause of samsara. So if we liberate from them, then there's no samsara. Whether before we change this life, this body, one body with one life, we can become enlightened. No doubt. No hesitations. Okay. Therefore, Sariputta, since Bodhisattvas have no attainment, they abide by relying on Pranjana Paramita. Since their minds are without obscuration, they have no fear, having fully transcended delusion. They attain complete nirvana. So this day we don't need fear, right? We have to fully transcend delusion. So that's where there's no suffering. If we really analyze in the emptiness, there's no suffering. The beginning of suffering is not the second of that suffering. Second of not the suffering is not third of suffering. Then you have no time to suffer in a second. In a second, if you have not suffering, then how can you suffering? How can be suffering? We drink hot water, then it helps 3 minutes. That means we have, at that moment, we have identified, this water helps us. But if we establish time, first, second, third, each and every minute or period or seconds are non-exist. Each and every the seconds are non-existent. Then when we become suffering, that is really a big question. Sometimes we ask ourselves, when do you suffer? You say you are suffering. When do you suffering? The suffering non-exist, right? So through this way, they attain complete nirvana. All the Buddhas who abiding in the 3 times full awakening, unsurprised, completely perfect enlightenment by relying on Pranjana Paramita. There's no, therefore, the great mantra, this part is important. The great mantra of Pranjana Paramita, the mantra of great insight, the unsurprised mantra. Okay, first, the mantra of the Paranjana Parimetta, right? The great mantra of Paranjana Parimetta. So I say that the mantra of transcending wisdom. Mantra of transcending wisdom. That means you become enlightened as quickly as the Vajrayana path. This is the Heart Sutra. But you recite that mantra, you understand this mantra, and then you practice on this mantra, then you become enlightened as quickly as Vajrayana path. Otherwise, we say, oh, Sutra practice, it takes many lives, thousands of lives, but we really practice on there is so fast. Then second mantra in this text, it says the mantra of great insight. Then I said the essence of this mantra is primordial wisdom. Because the Paranjana Parimetta mantra purifies root of ignorance. Root of ignorance. And then the mantra equal to unequal. So that is, say, the super mantra. I would like to say that too. The super mantra, that means this is the highest mantra. Highest mantra. Why it is highest later, we will know. And then there's the unsurprised mantra. The unsurprised, oh yes, the mantra equal to the unequal it. This mantra makes practitioners equal to the Buddha. Then we satisfied, right? If that mantra makes equal to the Buddha, so that's where it's really makes. Then the mantra that cleans all sufferings. This is so important. This mantra conquers the root of all sufferings. So that's where we call on that, because we establish emptiness, the sufferings. So otherwise we take medicines, we take different tools to stop this disease. But this is special. That is key point. Please let you know. When we are suffering, internally or externally, we are suffering. In the suffering, at that moment we start to practice on there, then recovered from these sufferings. How recovered? If you practice on the 1 hour you recovered. If you practice 1 day recovered. If you practice 1 month recovered. That's where our practitioners have to become practitioner whole life. So if you practice on whole life, then whole life you recovered from sufferings. That is really so unique, right? And then the last, this mantra says that should be known, I think that's last, yeah, should be known to the true since it is undeceiving. So I say this mantra never deceives, because it will help us to accomplish the 2 cities. Right now we don't need suffering, we don't need problems, and due to this practice, it can remove. Or could remove. And then another our city or our goal is to be Buddha. So due to this practice of this mantra and the Heart Sutra, then we can be Buddha. That's where there's the mantra is that. And then this mantra says, Om Gati Gati Parang Gati Parasangatim Bodhi Soha. So some texts have Tiyata and then, but just I follow this. So Gati means the first Gati, there's Gati, many Gatis, right? So first Gati has to do with relative truth and know the law of the cause and the effect, never deceive. Gati means first Gati means that. Clear? Then second Gati has to do with ultimate truth and knowing all the phenomena are illusory as dreams. Okay? Then Parangati, third Gati has to do with the ultimate truth and knowing the natural state of mind. If you are really wisdom people, Parasangati, like a Parangati, then you figure out. Buddha's disciples are, most of them are like that. He talked one word, they understood everything. Among us, maybe have sometimes someone liberated through his Eminence Garchin Rinpoche's teaching, someone liberated through his some sure actions, his actions, someone liberated from his some regular speak or so. So they are different. That's why in Chinese the last text is a Kangla Kandur, whatever they need, and then the Bodhisattvas act that. Through this way, both of them liberated through this way. Okay. Fourth Gati has to do with the ultimate truth and knowing the union of the ultimate truth and the relative truth. Then 5 is Bodhi. Bodhi means then complete enlightenment. That means one has become Buddha. Okay? And this is the explanation about this meaning of mantra. But this is real, directly what they say. Directly say, Gate Gate, Om Gate Gate. Om is the head of mantra. Then Gate Gate means go, go. Where? Path of accumulation and path of journey. There's 5 paths, right? In Vajrayana and Sutra, both Mahayana both has a 5 paths. So first, Gate means go on the path of accumulation and the path of join. Second Parangati is go on the path of seeing. Third is Parasangati, go on the path of meditation. Third is Bodhi, that is go on the path of no learning. That means the go path of Shakyamuni Buddha's path. The go path of the stage of the Buddha. Okay, so this mantra, only one sentence. This mantra teach us 5 paths of Buddhism. Then, in this way, Shariputra, Bodhisattva, Mahasattva should train in the profound Panchaparamita. Then the Bhangavin rose from that samadhi and spoke to noble Avalokiteshvara, the noble Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, well done, good, yeah, and so on of noble family. Son of noble family, thus it is. Son of noble family, thus it is. One should practice the profound Parinjana Paramita just as you have taught, and Tathangatas will rejoice. When the Bhangavin had said this, Venerable Shariputra and noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, all those surrounding them, and the world with its goods, gods, humans, asuras, and Gindharavas rejoiced and praised the words of the Bhangavin. So that Buddha and Shariputra and Compassion Buddha, 3 of them, did that. In order to this is the Buddha's teaching, and then all the other human being and non-human being and everybody rejoiced on these teachings. So,
why does the Bhagavan at the end there repeat himself? Why does he say, well done, good, O son of noble family, thus it is, O son of noble family, thus it is? Why does he say those sentences twice?
That is, actually this is, he really agreed, strongly, purely agreed. And also, it means he already taught from his mind to mind. He taught in from his mind to Avalokiteshvaraya's mind. So that's where then he repeat on there. Repeat means he really strongly, completely agreed on there. Even though Buddha thought, if he taught, he answered that to the Shariputara, then he has no other single different words than the Avalokiteshvara, what he answered on there. Do you make sense? Emphasize means he really agreed. He agreed means that is true. Exactly what is the Dharma is the Avalokiteshvara answered to the Shariputara. That is one thing. In Tibet says Tete Yino. Tete Yino means what you say that it is. That it is. And then another say, yes, the noble families, whoever practice on there, they will liberated through this way. That is true. So that means this. Okay? That's all? Oh, yeah. Jambar Baba Jedaran Jamba Dan Kundu Zambo De An De Shen De Da Kunje Jiza Dala Gyawan De Da Damje Rabdo Ngo Pama Zimje Damje De Dan Danger Je Nindro Damje Da De Dongwara Chanchuk Sumba Ganda Zajo Ba De Da Kunje Molan Ba Jo Chanjo Zanjo Rambo Je Maje Bana Jejer Jiba Nyamba Meba Ya Gona Gonda Bewa Jo. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
37 people.
Ah, thank you.